Let's give our dance team a great big round of applause. As I mentioned before the game began this evening, that this game is dedicated to our military, our veterans. So if we have any veterans in the crowd that would like to come down, we would invite you to come down. On the other side as well, if there are any veterans, if you want to run across the field and come on over here, we'd like to give a little bit of honor to you. This evening to begin, I would like to introduce Mrs. Mary Rivera. Mrs. Rivera at school. Mrs. Rivera at school has a program called the Veterans Heritage Project. And this evening she's got a couple of her students with her who will be giving honor to some veterans that they wrote some papers on that go into the archives for the federal government. It's neat to be able to see students being able to look back and to give honor to men and women who have given service to our country. So at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Mrs. Rivera.
Hi everyone. As Mr. Serio mentioned, my name is Mary Rivera, and I was approached about 2 years ago by a Marquette alum named Barbara Hatch. She is one of the leaders of the Veterans Heritage Project, and she asked me, she's in Arizona, asked me to start a chapter at Marquette where our students would interview, write, and have the stories of the veterans in the area published for the Library of Congress. And I jumped at the opportunity because I thought it was an amazing thing for our students to be involved in. So the way the Veteran Heritage Project works is our students interviewed the veterans and published their stories, and the point of this was not only to preserve these stories for history in the Library of Congress, but it was also to give our students an opportunity to learn history the best possible way, which is to work with these men and women who made these sacrifices for our country. So what we are going to do tonight is introduce a few of them that were able to make it, and then I'll just tell the stories of the other ones who were unable to make it tonight. Our members of our VHP that are here tonight are Kathleen Boderbush and Katie Hart, and we also have other members who were not able to make it: Andy Davis, Tina Duong, Katie Glenn, and Keely Stork. So what we're going to do is start with those who we interviewed who served most recently, and then move backwards. So Keely, one of our students, she actually interviewed or wrote the story of her uncle, who was Captain Scott Thomas Gerard Rice of the Marine Corps. Captain Rice was killed in a helicopter accident while training for a mission in 1996. He is survived by his wife, Susan, and his son, Patrick. We were able to interview his wife and then write his story based on her accounts of his life and his service for our country. His decorations include the Meritorious Unit Commendation Medal, the National Defense Service Medal, the Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, the Sea Service Deployment Medal, and the United Nations Service Medal. We would like to thank Captain Rice for his service and ultimate sacrifice. Our next veteran, Captain Dan Schramm, was interviewed by the Marquette alum, Tom Hart. Tom could not make it here tonight, so I will be introducing him for him. Captain Dan Schramm of the U.S. Army's 25th Infantry Division Artillery fought in the Vietnam War, and his son, Morgan Schramm, is a teacher at Marquette currently. Captain Schramm's decorations include the Bronze Star Medal, the Air Medal with Oak Leaf Cluster, the Aircraft Crewman's Badge, the Vietnam Service Medal, the Vietnam Campaign Medal, and the National Defense Service Medal. He also had top secret security clearance that he had to keep secret and did not leak to any of the enemies. We would like to thank him for his service and sacrifices.
My name is Kathleen Botterbush, and I am a junior at Marquette. I had the privilege of interviewing my grandfather, Staff Sergeant David Van Velzen of the U.S. Air Force, who served in Vietnam. His decorations include the National Defense Ribbon, Good Conduct Medal, Small Arms Expert, and the Vietnam Campaign. I would like to thank Staff Sergeant Van Velzen for his service and sacrifices. I also had the privilege of interviewing one of Marquette's biggest fans and supporters, Bob Walters. Corporal Bob Walters was in the U.S. Army and fought in the Korean War. Corporal Walters' decorations include the United Nations Korean Service Medal. I would like to thank Corporal Walters for his service and sacrifices.
And the last veteran we'll be recognizing from the VHP tonight is Private First Class Bob Weissop, who fought in World War II and served in the Army's Battery C 671st Field Artillery Battalion. I am honored to have interviewed Bob Weissop. He is my great-grand-uncle, but at almost 98 years of age, he was not able to attend tonight. His decorations include 1 Service Stripe, 6 Overseas Service Bars, the American Defense Ribbon, American Theater Ribbon, the European, African, Middle Eastern Ribbon with the Bronze Battle Star, and the Asiatic Pacific Theater Ribbon with 1 Bronze Star. We would like to thank him for his service and sacrifices. And finally, to all the men and women here tonight who have served our country, we, the VHP, would like to thank you for your service and sacrifices.
And finally this evening, for those of you veterans who did not get a chance to come down, for those of you who are here in front, I'd like to read a list of, I don't know how many of you realize how many Marquette students are currently deployed overseas or here in the States. Major Michael Davis, Lieutenant Colonel Christopher Williams, Sergeant John Fleming, Lance Corporal Jared Zerwas, Commander John Leach, Sergeant Anthony Silkwood, Seaman Gordon Martinez, Specialist Anthony Sirio, Private Sam Bowman. This may be incorrect on his current rank, but at last time I got in touch with him, it was Captain James Ashlock, who flies a V-2 out of Whiteman Air Force Base. Wyatt Brass, Thomas Hain. And finally, just a little note to give you an idea or an understanding and answer the question, what is a veteran? A veteran, whether active duty, discharged, retired, or reserved, is someone who at one point in their life wrote a blank check made payable to the United States of America for an amount of up to and including their life. That is what we honor tonight and should honor always. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.